First time riding in Civic Type R.
I guess we're back, huh?
We're back.
So yeah, I've had this car, it'll be a year in June.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it was again my grandfather's. Because for some reason, a 75-year-old college professor decided he wanted to drive the class in a Civic Type R.
My granddad bought a Lexus ES350, which rode like a boat, but ugh. I got him a E-Class, but I wish I had a granddad that liked cars.
I got really lucky. Both of mine did. I mean, my dad's dad, we unfortunately lost him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And the last thing he ever told me is he wanted me to drive this car. So it's something I keep in mind. I keep him with me every time I drive it, and she rips. So this is third gear.
I'm surprised by how smooth it is. It sounds smooth.
It's super smooth. Handles bumps and corners really well, and it's super easy to daily drive. The seats are comfortable, yet they hold you in. I've taken this thing to the track. I've out-cornered GTRs, track prep Mustangs. It's crazy. We were doing like a lead follow day out at Dominion Raceway.
Yeah.
And I was braking after the apex because I was coming up with like 20 miles an hour of extra speed on these cars. So, and like for some reason they wouldn't let us pass because they didn't want people getting competitive on such a tight track.
Mm-hmm.
But I was braking after the mid-corner apex just because I completely out-cornered them. It was ridiculous.
As far as the motor, I've always thought like Hondas have that kind of buzzy, like a hornet's nest from hell inside of a glass jar kind of engine, but this is like really smooth, almost a purr, not quite like a European kind of purr, but it really, you just feel it.
It's different. It's so different than any other Civic, especially, or Honda, really. So when I was looking for exhaust for this thing, which I didn't end up getting because I had other expenditures, I was spinning second because why not? It was really difficult to find one that didn't have that classic Honda buzziness, because they all like were tuned to give the buzziness, and I was like, this car has such a unique sound that I really don't want that. I don't want the metallic buzziness, sort of fart can almost sound. Even though sometimes it does sound decent, I just wasn't looking for it.
Yeah.
I didn't want that in a car. And eventually I found one, but it was like $1,700, and so I was like, yes, but I've got other stuff to spend my money on. Oh, and yeah, I can pull like 1.1 G's around a corner.
Yeah.
I did the math. It goes from 60 to 0 stopping in 100 feet.
That's pretty good.
Which is incredible.
Yeah. It's like Camaro SS with those big Brembos, like territory.
It's got, I think, either 4-pot or 6-pot Brembos.
Yeah.
So it's got some big brakes. I've made Bennett's head hit the seat a couple times. Especially when someone's like texting someone in the back or something. Just see it. A lot of my friends don't like riding in this thing just for that reason.
I like the way the positioning of the arms. I love the suede. Some plastics here, but it's not places where you're like touching it, or it's not in your way, like visibility wise, or like there's nothing that's like an eyesore sticking out. But you can tell it's still an affordable performance car, but the grip is fantastic. Sorry, dude. He was pretty cool.
So this does also follow, like I said earlier in the other video, was function over form. Like, it does look fantastic, but almost every piece on this car is functional, except for some of the vents. But that's a big dispute that people have.
And the three-hole exhaust was a little confusing to some people too.
So that's interesting that you say that. I've been trying to figure out what the third one does. I think it's actually, you hear like up at higher RPMs, and when you're under full load and full boost, when you're building full boost, it almost sounds like a rush of air going through the exhaust. And I think it's probably, if I took a guess, I haven't looked this up, we're gonna turn around real quick.
Yeah, sure.
It's a dead end. But I think it's probably wastegate.
Yeah.
So the extra exhaust gases, so you don't overspin the turbo, just getting blown out the back, just so it doesn't, again, overspin the turbo.
Boost creep, yeah. I'm surprised. That's another thing I wanted to point out. I feel almost no turbo lag whatsoever. I feel like nothing.
The only time you'll ever feel it is if you're trying to feel it, like you started 2,000 RPM in fourth, and you'll feel it kind of kick. But like I said, if you're driving it hard, you don't really get any lag between gears or anything. It's a really good daily driver. You can fit a lot of stuff in the back. It's got 4 seats for four adults, that is. Like,
Yeah, I'm good.
it's not uncomfortable in the back. I mean, I suppose Bennett can confirm that.
There's plenty of leg room.
I'm really
cup
impressed.
holders, everything.
Visibility's fantastic. Speaking of the Camaro, I would love to have them, but the visibility's atrocious.
Oh, that's so true. And the other thing is, like, the wing on the back of this thing. A lot of people are like, when you put a wing on a car, even from OEMs, you have issues with visibility. You look in the rearview mirror, they put the wing high enough that you cannot see the wing in the rearview mirror. So, I mean, yeah, if you look back, you can see it, but it's not obstructing your view. You can have a huge wing without having the downside of lack of visibility.
Is that full throttle?
No.
We gotta do at least one launch.
So, ironically, the 0 to 60 on this car is significantly lower than or significantly higher number. Shows slower than I think it actually is.
Yeah.
Because it spins first, no matter the conditions.
Yeah.
And then second maxes out at 58. So you have to shift again before 60.
Yeah.
So it really does hurt the 0 to 60 times when you're. I mean, it's something that I feel like when you're 12, you look at the 0 to 60 times. It's not something that's a true representation of how good the car is or how it drives or feels.
Yeah.
But it's just different. So I just don't think it accurately represents what the car is capable of and what it does.
Yeah. I know one of the bigger complaints was also no all-wheel drive with this car, but it feels very planted. I guess really the only thing you're missing is maybe a bit of that launch, but I mean, when you're taking the corners and I see, you know, just rolling onto the throttle, it felt fine.
Like I said, I mean, the only time you really lose traction is in first or second if it's raining or under 50 degrees, because I've got summers.
Yeah.
But the other crazy thing is, other than that, you have no torque steer.
Oh, I felt
They
none.
completely engineered out all the torque steer, which is a big issue, and especially other 300 horsepower front-wheel drive cars.
Yeah.
They did a fantastic job doing it. It's something where I'm like, yeah, I could throw coils on it. Yeah, I could modify the suspension, but what is that going to do to all the suspension geometry that they've already spent so much money and time working for?
Yeah, true.
Andrew, if you want to have a good place to do or go a little fast, you can turn right and then go right again, and then on the exit over here, there's like a left, and there's some nice little turns.
Yeah, sounds good. I've got another idea though.
By all means.
You want to drive?
Can I?
Sure. Why not?
No. Really?
Yeah.
Even after, like...
You weren't driving. I trust you.
That's true, but oh my god, thank you, Andrew.
I trust you. There's not a ton of idiots around here either, so.
Yeah.
Well, that kid's definitely not around here. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, like, after the accident, just so you guys know, I feel awful about the motorcyclist. I don't want to make light of that, but I do want to make light of the fact that, you know, we're having a good time. We're in good company. We all know how to drive stick. We're all responsible here, so we're going to be responsible. I'm going to be responsible, and I get to drive a car that I've been waiting a long time to drive, so.
Yeah,
Thanks,
let's do
Andrew.
it.